When was the last time you pulled into a fast food drive-thru, grabbed a brown paper bag, and felt a sudden wave of regret before you even left the parking lot? Maybe you ordered through DoorDash or Uber Eats, only to find lukewarm, soggy fries, a soda leaking through the cup holder, and a paper straw that collapsed into mush before you could even finish a third of your drink. Or maybe you walked inside to escape the chaotic line, only to stand ignored behind a swarm of delivery gig workers while waiting 20 minutes for a basic cheeseburger that somehow cost as much as a casual sit-down meal. We have been conditioned to accept this as the normal price of convenience, but it is anything but normal. You are paying premium prices for engineered garbage, and the systemic decay behind the golden arches of modern American fast food is getting impossible to ignore. By the time we finish here, you will know more than 90% of shoppers out there. You will discover the hidden digital traps designed to penalize your privacy. I will show you how corporate cost-cutting is directly tied to stomach-churning health department failures right down the street. And we will peel back the curtain on the laboratory data, proving what this stuff is actually doing to your body over time. Best of all, the absolute most shocking corporate deception, the literal optical illusion they use to manipulate reality right under your nose at the pickup window, is coming up near the very end. So you will want to see every second of this. Before we start naming the specific household names and digging into the data, we need to understand the underlying mechanics of how the fast food industry completely broke itself. Think of your body like a high-performance vehicle. For decades, the fast food machine sold itself as a reliable, budget-friendly fuel stop. It was cheap, it was fast, and it did the job. But over the last few years, the corporations running these kitchen chains realized a dark corporate truth. They could stop selling actual fuel entirely, replace it with highly addictive chemical substitutes, double the price, and people would keep buying it out of sheer habit. They have turned the classic American meal into an ultra-processed illusion engineered in a corporate lab rather than a kitchen. When you buy a standard fast food meal today, you are not paying for high-quality agriculture. You are paying for massive marketing budgets and industrial chemistry. The industry relies heavily on a complex matrix of hydrogenated fats, high-fructose corn syrup, and synthetic texturizers to make stale, frozen ingredients mimic the texture of fresh food. It is the culinary equivalent of putting a fresh coat of paint over dry rot. They use precise ratios of salt, sugar, and fat to hit what food scientists call the bliss point, the exact chemical threshold that overrides your brain's natural satiety signals, forcing you to keep eating even when your stomach is full. To maximize profits, these massive corporations have squeezed their local franchises to the absolute brink. They demand higher licensing fees while forcing store owners to absorb skyrocketing supply costs. When a local operator gets squeezed that hard by corporate headquarters, they only have a few levers left to pull to survive. They cut staff, they skimp on basic maintenance, they neglect deep cleaning, and they look for every legal loophole possible to manipulate the consumer. This is exactly how you end up with filthy dining rooms, broken equipment, and food safety standards that should terrify anyone looking at a menu. You are not just a customer to them. You are a data point to be tracked, monetized, and fed industrial byproducts. And it is time to look at the cold, hard receipts of how they are doing it. Let us dive straight into the belly of the beast, starting with a digital trap that is spreading across the country like wildfire. Consider the neighborhood Wendy's, a brand that has spent decades cultivating a folksy, fresh, never-frozen image rooted in Midwestern charm. But behind that friendly square patty facade lies a ruthless corporate agenda to force you onto their mobile app. If you walk into a local store or pull into the drive-thru to grab one of their classic combo deals or a discounted Dave single, you might notice something infuriating. The best promotions are completely locked away unless you download their app. A recent corporate push has made it clear that if you want the advertised value, you must hand over your data. If you order the exact same food at the counter from a human being, you are slapped with a quiet penalty, paying significantly more for a meal made by the same cook with the same ingredients in the same kitchen. This is not a discount for loyal customers, it is a corporate tax on your privacy. The company wants a digital tracker in your pocket, logging your location, your order patterns, and your spending habits across all of their thousands of US locations. It is a calculated move to eliminate transparent pricing and replace it with algorithmically targeted manipulation, ensuring that the consumer who values privacy pays the highest possible price. If you think that is a dirty trick, look at how Burger King handled their iconic Royal Perks program. Owned by the massive conglomerate Restaurant Brands International, Burger King has positioned itself as a rebellious alternative where you can always have it your way. For years, cash-strapped families and students relied on their value menu and rewards program to get a quick, cheap meal. It was a reliable anchor for people trying to stretch a buck. But in a quiet corporate restructuring of the reward system, the value was completely gutted. They raised the point thresholds required to redeem basic food items and put strict spending minimums on deals that used to be unconditionally cheap. Consumers took to Reddit and consumer review platforms to voice their outrage, stating plainly that what used to be a genuine value is now just a cynical carrot dangled to make you spend double what you intended. The corporate terms confirm the squeeze. You are forced to spend more money up front just to unlock a reward that used to cost nothing. They did not hold a massive press conference to announce they were making their value rewards worse for struggling families, because corporations only broadcast the illusion of generosity while quietly executing the math of cost-cutting. If you are already feeling like checking your own kitchen cabinets or looking at your phone to delete these corporate tracking apps, hit that subscribe button right now because the data gets significantly worse from here. Let us talk about the absolute nightmare of modern fast food delivery, a service heavily utilized at brands like Jack in the Box. When you order a late-night meal through a third-party app, you are essentially paying a massive premium to gamble on whether your food will even arrive edible. Look through the aggregate consumer reviews on platforms like Trustpilot, and a painfully consistent pattern emerges. Customers describe opening a soggy, grease-stained bag only to find their curly fries missing entirely, while the remaining food is stone cold because nobody in the kitchen or the delivery pipeline timed the order correctly. Worse yet, the drink cups are frequently reported as leaking through the bottom of the cheap paper delivery bags, ruining the entire meal. And let us not forget the paper straw debacle that hit the industry. When fast food chains rushed to swap out plastic straws for paper versions to project an eco-friendly image, the reality was an absolute disaster. Real consumers reported that the straws disintegrated in milkshakes within 30 seconds. To make matters worse, investigative reporting across the industry revealed that many municipal recycling facilities could not even process these food-contaminated paper straws, meaning they were trucked straight to incinerators or landfills anyway. The consumer got a ruined drink, the corporation got a greenwashing public relations victory, and the planet got absolutely zero benefit. But cold fries and mushy straws are nothing compared to what happens when local franchises completely abandon basic sanitation. Let us look at a terrifying, documented case from a McDonald's franchise in Ohio. Health department inspection records revealed that a busy location was cited for a critical violation, operating with zero hot water at the hand-washing sinks. According to public health standards, running a high-volume commercial kitchen without hot water isn't a minor administrative oversight. It is a fundamental threat to food safety that allows foodborne pathogens to spread rapidly across countertops and utensils. Yet, corporate records and local media reports showed the location continued to serve thousands of customers a day before the mechanical failure was properly resolved. This is a chilling glimpse into what happens when operational costs are squeezed to the absolute limit at the franchise level. The local operator cuts corners on basic facility maintenance, and the customer is left playing Russian roulette with food poisoning. If you do not actively look up your local county health department inspections, you have absolutely no way of knowing if the kitchen making your dinner failed its most basic sanitary requirements, while these kitchens are failing background checks. Their corporate headquarters are spending ungodly amounts of money to distract you. Look at Taco Bell, owned by Yum! Brands. According to data from advertising trackers, Taco Bell has aggressively accelerated its outdoor and digital media spending, pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into billboards, social media takeovers, and late-night television ads. They are hyper-targeting younger demographics with flashy marketing campaigns to drown out the growing public awareness surrounding the dangers of ultra-processed foods. They even brought in high-profile marketing executives to revolutionize their digital presence, only for some of those executive strategies to stall within a year due to massive shifts in consumer behavior. When a company throws that much cash at advertising, it is often trying to outrun a fundamental truth about its product. They need the noise of the marketing to drown out the silence of an empty dining room. And why are the dining rooms emptying out? Because the prices have become an absolute scam. For decades, the entire fast food industry was built on the back of the dollar menu. But look at Wendy's and McDonald's across America today. The true dollar menu is dead. In the summer of 2022, the psychological barrier was broken when basic cheeseburgers jumped past their historic price points, and they haven't stopped climbing since. Meanwhile, portion sizes have shrunk, a corporate trick known as shrinkflation. You are paying 40% more for a burger that feels lighter in your hand. Because of this aggressive price gouging, the fast food giants are losing their crown to unexpected rivals. Fast casual chains like Culver's and regional powerhouses like Waffle House or even supermarket hot food bars are aggressively stealing market share. Data from consumer surveys show that brands like Five Guys, despite being more expensive, are heavily preferred by consumers because the food actually tastes fresh, leaving traditional fast food chains completely stranded in a no-man's land where they are neither cheap nor good. Let us look at the literal laboratory data regarding what is inside this food. The Clean Label Project and independent researchers publishing in peer-reviewed journals like The Lancet and the British Medical Journal have thoroughly analyzed the long-term impact of a diet heavy in ultra-processed fast food. The findings are devastating. A massive umbrella review covering data from millions of participants consistently links a high intake of ultra-processed food to a 55% higher risk of obesity, a 40% higher risk of type 2 diabetes, and a shocking 66% increased risk of cardiovascular disease. When you look at the mandatory calorie counts now listed on menus next to premium items like a double bacon cheeseburger combo, you are looking at 1,500 to 2,000 calories for a single meal, very close to an adult's entire daily recommended intake. This is not food, it is a metabolic time bomb engineered to bypass your body's natural defenses. Then there is the running joke of the industry, the broken ice cream machine. If you check mcbroken.com on any given summer day, you will see a sea of red dots across major American cities like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, showing that 10 to 15% of McDonald's ice cream machines are completely down. This is not an accident. It is the result of a highly restrictive, exclusive corporate contract with the Taylor Company, which manufactures the machines. For years, franchise owners were legally barred from using independent diagnostic tools to fix simple software errors, forcing them to wait days for an expensive, authorized Taylor technician. Even when third-party innovators created devices to help owners fix their own machines, corporate headquarters issued warnings to suppress the technology. It took an intervention involving the Federal Trade Commission and copyright exemptions to finally give independent repair people a chance, but the system remains sluggish, leaving the consumer staring at a broken machine while the corporation protects its lucrative repair monopolies. To make matters worse, these companies are devaluing their rewards currencies faster than real-world inflation. Within the last year, major chains have quietly updated their terms of service to increase the number of points needed to cash in for a simple chicken sandwich or orders of fries. Simultaneously, they shortened the expiration window of the points from 12 months down to 6. If you are a casual customer who only visits once a month, your hard-earned points will literally vanish into thin air before you can use them. It is a calculated move to extract billions of dollars in unredeemed loyalty value back onto the corporate balance sheet. But the most offensive corporate theater happens right at the drive-thru window. Have you ever ordered a simple meal only for the worker to desperately plead with you to pull forward into a designated parking bay to wait? This is a systemic trick designed to stop a literal clock. Fast food franchises are judged ruthlessly by corporate headquarters on their average drive-thru service times, tracked by magnetic loop sensors under the pavement. By forcing your car to move off the sensor into a parking bay, the local store stops the corporate timer, signaling to headquarters that they served you in under 60 seconds, while you actually sit in a filthy, litter-strewn parking lot for 10 minutes waiting for your food. The experience for the consumer is slower. The parking lot is a mess of discarded packaging, but the spreadsheet at corporate headquarters looks perfect. The final insult is that when that bag finally reaches your car, the sauces you paid extra for are missing, the order is incomplete, and you are left idling your engine in a parking bay, completely scammed by a system that prioritizes a digital dashboard over a human being. And now, what it was worth watching all the way through for. We have spent enough time digging through corporate garbage, digital surveillance traps, and health department horror stories. It is time to talk about the rewards of breaking a bad habit and look at the brands that are actually doing things the right way. There are still companies operating in the United States that treat you like a human being instead of a metric on a corporate dashboard, and their food won't turn your internal organs into a medical research project. You can walk into these places, spend your hard-earned money, and leave with actual, honest-to-God food. Let us start with the gold standard of mainstream fast food transparency. A regional titan that has resisted every single corporate temptation to compromise its soul, In-N-Out Burger. Founded back in 1948 in California, this family-owned operation has famously refused to franchise or go public. Why? Because the moment Wall Street gets its hands on a food chain, the accountants immediately replace fresh ingredients with frozen filler to make a graph look pretty. In-N-Out operates under a strict operational rule. No freezers, no microwaves, and no heat lamps are allowed inside their buildings. Their supply chain is entirely built around proximity, meaning they will not open a restaurant unless it sits within a day's drive of their own regional patty-making facilities. Every single beef patty is made from 100% USDA ground chuck, completely free of chemical additives, preservatives, or pink slime fillers. Wikipedia show too, when you take a bite of a double-double, the difference isn't just noticeable, it is a physical revelation. The lettuce is hand-leafed in the kitchen that morning, the tomatoes are thick and juicy, and the buns are baked from slow-rising sponge dough instead of cheap, chemical-laden bread substitutes. And the best part? It is a total myth that eating clean, fresh food at a drive-thru has to bankrupt you. Because of their hyper-simplified menu and massive inventory turnover, In-N-Out's prices are consistently lower than the engineered, frozen garbage being pushed by major competitors. You can get a fresh, made-to-order meal for a price that undercuts a premium combo meal elsewhere by several dollars. Of course, the downside is geographic availability. If you live outside the West Coast, the Southwest, or parts of the South, you are completely out of luck. Plus, because they refuse to use shortcuts like pre-cooked warming trays, you are going to sit in a long line. But that line is moving because people know that what is waiting at the window is actual food. Reddit, if you don't live near an In-N-Out, your next best nationwide bet for a massive step up in quality is Culver's. Born in Wisconsin, this chain has built an absolute fortress of consumer trust by anchoring its entire business model to American agriculture. Through their ongoing Thank You Farmers project, Culver's actively partners with real U.S. dairy and cattle farms that prioritize sustainable practices and climate-smart agricultural systems. They do not buy their beef from anonymous global industrial liquidators. Their signature butter burgers are crafted from fresh, never-frozen beef chuck and plate cuts, pressed and seared to order on a screaming hot grill. HBSAI Institute, when you taste a Culver's burger, you immediately notice the distinct, crispy, caramelized edges that you only get from fresh beef hitting a real flat top. Paired with real Wisconsin cheddar that melts completely naturally rather than separating into an oily plastic sheen. Even their fresh frozen custard is spun mechanically throughout the day in small batches right there in the store, using real Midwestern dairy. On a price-per-serving basis, Culver's will cost you a bit more than a basic value meal chain. Expect to pay around $10 to $12 for a full basket meal, but every single cent of that premium is justified by what you are putting into your body. Independent food industry analysts consistently rate Culver's at the top of customer satisfaction surveys for a reason. You are getting a clean, freshly prepared meal from a kitchen that treats food like a craft rather than an industrial assembly line. Finally, for those moments when you want to completely step away from the traditional fast food apparatus and buy something that treats nutritional science with absolute respect, you look toward Chipotle Mexican Grill. While they have faced their own supply chain growing pains in the past, their response was to implement some of the most rigorous, scientifically verified food safety and ingredient sourcing protocols in the entire fast casual industry. Chipotle operates on a strict food with integrity philosophy. They are fiercely committed to sourcing meats raised without the routine use of non-therapeutic antibiotics or added hormones, and a significant portion of their ingredients are certified organic or sourced from local farms within 300 miles of the restaurant. Mashed when you order a bowl or a burrito, you are looking at raw, whole ingredients prepared by human hands. The guacamole is mashed fresh in small bowls using real avocados, cilantro, and lime juice, not squeezed out of an industrial plastic tube filled with chemical stabilizers. The steak and chicken are seasoned and grilled on site. From a metabolic standpoint, this is an entirely different universe. Independent nutritional data shows that a properly balanced bowl at Chipotle provides clean, whole food macronutrients, complex carbohydrates, and lean proteins without the massive cloud of synthetic texturizers and inflammatory seed oils found in traditional burger joints. It is undeniably the most expensive option on our recommended list, with a premium bowl easily pushing past $12 to $14 depending on your protein choice. and their digital ordering system can occasionally suffer from rush hour bottlenecks. But if you want total control over your macronutrients and absolute certainty that you are eating real, unadulterated agriculture, it is a price entirely worth paying. To protect your wallet and your health when navigating the modern landscape, you must arm yourself with definitive rules of engagement for the grocery store aisles. First, flip the package over and examine the ingredient list. If you spot hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, or names you cannot pronounce without a chemistry degree, put it right back on the shelf of your local Kroger or Safeway, because those are clear chemical markers of dynamic ultra-processing. Second, completely disregard front-of-package marketing buzzwords like natural, pasture-raised, or wholesome. These are legally unregulated marketing terms designed to trick you into paying a 50% premium at Target or Walmart for standard industrial products. Third, when buying meat or dairy at premium stores like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, actively look for third-party verified certifications such as 100% grass-fed or certified humane, which guarantee the food was sourced from a transparent agricultural supply chain rather than in an industrial feedlot. Fourth, never let a digital mobile app dictate your eating habits through targeted rewards or artificial discounts. If a retail chain or fast food establishment forces you to use an app to get an affordable price, they are explicitly trading your long-term privacy data to subsidize cheap, low-grade ingredients. Fifth, when shopping in bulk at Costco or Sam's Club, prioritize single-ingredient whole foods like raw nuts, frozen wild berries, and block cheeses rather than prepackaged, multi-ingredient frozen meals, which are heavily laden with industrial texturizers and inflammatory seed oils to artificially extend shelf life. Sixth, always check the unit price per ounce printed in tiny text on the store shelf sticker rather than the retail price on the box. This exposes corporate shrinkflation instantly, showing you exactly how much food volume you are actually losing for your money. Green Queen Media, when you look at the broad trajectory of the modern food industry, the systemic machinery becomes blindingly obvious. Multi-billion-dollar conglomerates have completely replaced traditional agriculture with highly profitable, engineered chemical formulations designed to bypass your natural satiety signals while charging you a premium for the privilege. They rely entirely on your daily exhaustion, your busy schedule, and your deeply ingrained habits to keep their profit margins soaring. To break free from this cycle and stop being a passive victim of corporate marketing manipulation, you need to execute a single, fundamental shift in your thinking. View food not as a cheap, convenient transaction to be managed through a digital screen, but as direct biological investments in your physical longevity. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time digging into the truth with me today. If you have a friend or a family member who still drives through those golden arches out of pure habit or relies heavily on corporate value menus to get through a busy week, please share this video with them right now, because they deserve to know exactly what they are putting on their family's plates. I want to hear from you directly down in the comments section. Which of these specific fast food brands or digital traps is sitting in your life right now, and are you ready to delete the apps for good? If you want to see exactly how big supermarket chains pull off a very similar optical illusion with your grocery receipts, click on our deep dive exposos on grocery store pricing tricks linked right here on the screen. Until next time, keep your eyes wide open, stay incredibly skeptical of corporate promises, and fiercely protect your plate.